including candidates, public servants, law enforcement agencies and citizens to work together to support the PNG Electoral Commission in delivering peaceful, credible and lawful elections. To mark the country's 50th independence anniversary, local porter of the Kokoda track, Gibson Muri, spoke of his experience of being a porter and guide for the last 22 years. He said the pride he holds as a Papua New Guinean goes as far as honoring his ancestors, running parallel with the fight for independence. Jasmine Irojek with this report.
Since 2003, local porter and guide for the Kokoda track, Gibson Muri, spoke of his experience and how his chieftaincy goes far back when his grandfather was one of the Fuzzy Wuzzy Angels who became a chief of their community along the Blue Mountains of the Kokoda track.
Yes, Bubu Blomi, I'm been stopped lo this 19, I'm been yampla mangi, I'm been stopped na this labo I'm been come up. This labo I'm been come up finish, I'm been stopped. Time my independence been come up na Australian government or Walkland come stop lookout him logem olgeta go again. Now I'm come up chief na I'm lookout in place now. And pass away finish. Pass away finish na I'm come lo picking in man blogem. I'm stop na lo picking in man me come out. Now me like this la walk where I'm been losing na go this la walk him. Me kissing back na me look out him people or community lo manari na me stop.
Muri expressed pride when tracing back to his ancestors and relatives who were part of the carriers for food supply and wounded Australian soldiers during World War II in 1942.
All grandparents all been involved at this time. Na lo war time lo all been kissing all been come up carrier. Na all been carry all food supply. Na also all wounded soldiers. Lo safety mall location where also stop long game also valving mall giving medicine law helping mall na safety mall. So time this la company me go through na misa walk about misa kissing pain misa thinning back this la all before war time pain where me been kissing na me thinning go back lo pain where all grandparents all been kissing this la pain yeah. Me thinning this la so now big plat day yosem now independence and them come na me thinning this la one plat and big plat day we day belong all back come so by me must respect him this la thinning back this la pain will be kiss him.
The Kokoda track and Papua New Guinea's independence is deeply rooted in the shared history of Australia and Papua New Guinea. Now Muri, who has partnered to create his own business called True Warrior, is sharing the country's special history, encouraging his children to do better for the country in the coming years.
Actually, me like him, me advise him all school na must come up good plan leader man lo community. So one can person me making me plan must come up this like kind.
Jasmine Irojak, TVWAN News.
Gibson Muri further acknowledged the country's independence and is seeking attention for the guides and porters of the Kokoda track to make a change.
I'm all porters and guides. We are looking also okay big la work. Na we like it most almost salary almost at least so change him like so we can balance one time this la pain one time. So people must change like this. At least you'll go on top. Maybe one day you can put in 1 day rate, you can put in 150 because inside the bush I'm almost feeling really pain. Big pain on Sakisi. Mountains to mountains now. Also big pain. So at least rate must go on top of some 1 day rate must 150 low potas. Guide must at least above on top low. So you can match him this pain we will be kissing.
The Australian Defence Force has chosen Papua New Guinea to host an offshore component of Exercise Talisman Sabre, a multinational military exercise mostly led by Australia and the United States. This is the first time in 11 iterations or 22 years of Exercise Talisman that part of its activity is hosted outside of Australia.
Exercise Talisman Sabre is a multinational biennial military exercise that is designed between Australia and the United States. For the first time this year, PNG will be the first country to conduct a component of Exercise Talisman Sabre outside of Australia. Australian Defence Force Chief of Joint Operations, Vice Admiral Justin Jones, visited Igam Barracks in Lae today, where he inspected a guard of honour before making the announcement.
It's a great pleasure to be in Lae, Papua New Guinea today, coinciding with the formal announcement in Australia to declare that Exercise Talisman Sabre will be occurring in Australia between the 13th of July and the 4th of August this year. Now, Papua New Guinea has been a participant in Exercise Talisman Sabre previously. So this will be the second time that Papua New Guinea has participated as an active exercise participant.
Vice Admiral Jones said this is the first time in 11 iterations or 22 years of Exercise Talisman Sabre that part of its activity is hosted outside of Australia. He outlined that this is indicative of the long relationship Australia has with PNG, especially when the country is nearing its 50th independence anniversary.
Now, this will be the largest iteration of Exercise Talisman Sabre. There will be 19 nations participating, over 30,000 personnel. So we're greatly looking forward to this year's iteration of Exercise Talisman Sabre.
The first Exercise Talisman Sabre started in 2005, where it was a bilateral activity between Australia and the US. Over time, more nations were brought in, with PNG joining in 2023. Vice Admiral Jones said this year's iteration of Talisman Sabre will include a joint personnel recovery scenario, which will test the Australian Defence Force and Papua New Guinea Defence Force in planning and conducting joint warfighting. This aims to enhance combat readiness and operational cooperation. This will be the 11th largest and most sophisticated iteration of the exercise. It will consist of live fire exercises and field training activities, incorporating force preparation activities, amphibious landings, ground force maneuvers, and air combat and maritime operations. Kamela Guare, TVWAN News, Lae.
Over 7,000 Papua New Guinean women yearly have to receive their obstetrics and gynecology health care on the floor of the Port Moresby General Hospital's maternity ward. This sad truth, recently highlighted by Dr. Glenn Moller, has sparked outrage and renewed conversations surrounding the dire infrastructure and facilities that are lacking at the hospital. The specialists of the Obstetrics and Gynecology Division at the Port Moresby General Hospital have presented suggestions relating to the care of women at the maternity ward to the management of the hospital. The suggestions were presented by Professor Dr. Glenn Moller during a press conference on Tuesday to address concerns raised by Dr. Moller on the poor health care received by women at the maternity ward. Among their page-long suggestions, short-term measures include getting more postnatal ward beds, although this would prove challenging as this would mean 10 beds would be very close together. Medium-term, one of the measures includes apologizing to the Japanese government and requesting assistance to build a perinatal center. And long-term, for the hospital management to look at developing the National Women's and Children's Hospital.
And we'd really like to progress from now. You could have a look with your management team, our ideas about how we might cope better with the immediate requirements of dealing with these numbers, with what we've got by reorganising things and trying to make it better.
Port Moresby General Hospital acknowledged a clear lack of quality infrastructure that houses the maternity ward, emphasizing that the overload situation is common to several wards at the hospital.
The facilities are run down, and everybody comes to Port Moresby General Hospital. So we are providing the care for a level 5 for Central Province, level 5 for NCD, level 4 must be North East, level 4 must be South, and some of level 4 of Central Province and Gulf as well. So everybody comes to Port Moresby General Hospital to provide to seek services.
Dr. Mulumi explained further the reasoning behind the hospital management's refusal of a possible grant from the Japan International Cooperation Agency.
Of course, there was a possible grant. It's not that our money was already ready to be given to us. No, I think that must be made very clear. That the Japanese team sent a technical team to assess, to do a feasibility study for a possibility of supporting us for a maternal and child health facility. Their proposal was for a level 4 and level 5 also, but it will be a new one, new labor ward. Therefore, when this was presented to the board, it does not meet the policy, which is the National Health Plan for a specialist hospital for Port Moresby with this facility.
While Dr. Molla emphasizes that the hospital would have benefited greatly from this grant.
We had so many consultations between ourselves and also the JICA team. It wasn't a JICA plan, I'm sorry, see, it wasn't a JICA plan. It was a plan that was developed in conjunction with the ONG staff of this hospital. So the plan was for both increasing the capacity, which we need more capacity, but also to upgrade the facility to level 6 level for obstetrics and gynecology.
Dr. Molla's presentation of the measures developed by himself and other specialists from the ONG division, including Dr. Mary Bagita, Dr. Robert Jones, Dr. Jameson Boas, Dr. Willie Train, and Dr. Hilda Tanimia were received by Dr. Paki Molumi. Meantime, to address emergency service demands, the National Capital District Provincial Health Authority has upgraded the 6 Mile Clinic to a 24-hour urban polyclinic capable of handling Category 3 emergency cases. This initiative helps divert non-critical patients from PMGH, reducing overcrowding and wait times during peak periods. Dr. Robin Oge says the PHA is working diligently to align its services and improve patient care coordination with PMGH.
So there's work going to address these issues, and we're putting all our efforts and time into this to ensure that the people of NCD access these services. But we also have to note that we are working against significant challenges. And one of the major challenges is the population boom that's happening in this city. And not only that, it's the excessive immigration into the city that's causing this as well. So while we are trying to deliver, and then we have these challenges that as well that are bearing down on us. And then the financial needs that we have, to put money, especially for infrastructure rehabilitation, that requires lots of money. So we are looking around that, but we are gaining support.
This is TV1 News. We'll bring you the day's other stories after the break. Stay with us.
connecting communities in our great nation.
A true champion is measured by their courage, their determination, and their passion to never give up and to always keep trying. With a delicious Milo in milk taste and added nutrients, Milo in milk is a great way to fuel our little champions with nourishing energy every day. Because true champions give it their all.
Milo, P&G and Mia. Find P&G made.
Open bets. Right across the nation, we eat snacks crackers. Emi trupla. All get a young planalapun, only like him snacks crackers. Only make him here, no P&G, one-time lay biscuit company. It's crunchy and tasty. It's irresistible.
Welcome back. Open member for Ligap Amos Akim has appealed to the Enga provincial government to ban alcohol in Enga during the LLG and Pogera Paila by-elections. Akim, who is also the chairman of the Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Law and Order, indicated that both the police and the PNG Defence Force in Enga should arrest people in possession of all forms of alcohol during this period. He said Enga is rated worse in law and order, and alcohol is the main contributor to trouble and unrest. The Marape-led government's plan to revitalize correctional services in Papua New Guinea is a step in the right direction to meet the growing need of prison systems in the country, says the acting Correctional Service Commissioner Bernard Nepo. Nepo said with the influx of inmates, there is a growing need to create better interventions that will properly rehabilitate them to be good citizens when they are released. He added that the correctional service officers are doing their part to rehabilitate the inmates but need more support, and the government's proposed program plays a key role in addressing that support.
Government's call for intervention through revitalizing correctional service is history in the making, because no government has ever done that. And so what I mean by that, in order for us to do these changes, we as prison officers, we are basically doing our job to change our friends out there who are brothers and sisters who have been outcast from the society, sent to this place, and we are trying our best to rehabilitate them. Through the TVWAN programs that we are undergoing, we have started this in the regional centers, and the idea will be replicated to all the regions in the country, or prisons in the country for that matter, and we will see that most of them will be rehabilitated.
The East New Britain provincial government, in partnership with the police department, have successfully completed inspections of various locations across the province with the aim to rehabilitate and establish several police posts in the region. This important visit was led by ENB Governor Michael Marum and accompanied by key officials including Assistant Police Commissioner for Logistics Chris Smith and ACP NGI Nauna Vanuavaru, among others. The rehabilitation and establishment of this police post will be funded by the provincial government with additional counter-funding from the police department. This initiative is designed to enhance the security and safety of the communities by improving police presence and facilities in these areas. Papua New Guinea is proudly participating in the Osaka World Expo 2025 with a dedicated team currently on the ground under the leadership of Osaka Expo Commissioner General Ambassador Gabriel Dusava. The Expo was officially launched on April 13 in Osaka, Japan, and is expected to attract over 28 million visitors from around the world during its 6-month duration. Under the theme Designing Future Society for Our Lives, the Osaka World Expo 2025 brings together more than 150 countries and international organizations to explore bold solutions to the challenges facing humanity. Papua New Guinea's presence at this global event offers a unique platform to showcase the nation's vibrant culture, rich natural resources, and development aspirations to an international audience. Commissioner General Gabriel Dusava and the PNG Expo team are actively engaging with international partners and visitors to highlight the country's strength and opportunities. The PNG Pavilion is already attracting attention for its displays of crafts and showcase of biodiversity and economic investment.
Come and join us. What the potential there is for Papua New Guinea to gain from this expo. Yes, I know some of you are saying, well, what is there to gain? You don't know and I don't know. But I know, I'm very, very confident in the government's decision to send us here because they know in Japan everything is possible. Everything is possible in our relationship, but it is what we invest in, what time we spend, how serious we are, how active we participate in presenting our country, its potential, its investment potential in the resources, in tourism, in agriculture. It is that will determine what we can get out of this expo.
As part of this national effort, the Commissioner General is encouraging all public sector agencies and state-owned enterprises to participate and make the most of the opportunities presented.
It's good to be here, and I'm, kind of encouraging all the agencies that need to come here. They must come and be on the ground, and we showcase the potentials we have as a country in this place. No any other way we can market our country. This is where the boiling pot is, where all the countries are coming and meeting here together with key people who have interest in business, interest in investments. They are here. So
the expo will run until October 13, 2025, offering continued opportunities for dialogue, networking, and promotion of PNG's vision for a resilient and inclusive future. And now the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.2455 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our kina was buying $0.2380 US dollars, $0.3717 Australian dollars, $0.2021 euro, and 33.65 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, coffee, cocoa, copra, and crude oil closed higher. Gold and palm oil closed lower, and copper closed the day unchanged. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, ASX closed higher, and all ordinaries closed higher as well. TVWAN News continues when we return. Stay with us.
great then, but me add him special flavor.
Put in more flavor, put in more taste. Magic Kokoda, get up and big smile on face. Time for Kim chicken, a great kumutu. Sip, sip, the moo, yes, magic on you.
Magic, the taste P&G loves. These two are creeping into your personal space. Why don't we send them packing? Oh, or maybe not.
Bing bang bing, bum bum.
Boom! The One Talk jackpot is rolling over week on week. A life-changing 1 million kina. Get your tickets now. Draws every Friday at 7:30 p.m. Play now at 321lotto.com.pg or any of your 321 authorized retailer. 321. Win big every day.
Life is about making memories, sharing new adventures. Go beyond the familiar. Don't let bacteria hold you back from experiencing the world. Protex uses natural antibacterial protection with flaxseed oil and eliminates 99.9% of bacteria. Free yourself. Go beyond with Protex.
It was during the Bougainville crisis that the Papua New Guinea Defence Force soldiers began to hear stories of a sword. Now, not just a sword, but the sword of Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto.
Japanese naval commander, Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, mastermind of a dastardly sneak attack on Pearl Harbor.
Yamamoto's sword, we were also going for that sword.
Tales of it being hidden in the mountains or in the hands of the BRA intrigued the PNGDF.
Raise your bat, and why not? What a stage to turn on the magic.
Balls of beauty. He's definitely need to calm down here.
Thanks for staying with us. BSP's Group Compliance Division has refurbished a gender-based violence room at St. Teresa Clinic in Port Moresby under its 2024 Community Project Initiative. The clinic, which recently celebrated 50 years of service, has evolved from a maternity center to a key provider of primary health care and family services.
In 2021, gender-based violence services were introduced through a partnership with Family Health International. Through the initiative, BSP donated medical equipment, office furniture, a laptop printer, and completed the full refurbishment of the GBV counseling room to enhance support for survivors. The donation aims to strengthen vital services delivered by the clinic, which has remained a pillar of community healthcare despite various challenges over the decades. BSP's community projects continue to support social welfare and improve access to essential services, reflecting the bank's commitment to building stronger, safer communities across Papua New Guinea. The Catholic Health Services, which manages the clinic, acknowledge the support as a vital boost in their mission to provide care and protection for vulnerable individuals. Carol Kidu Jr., TVWAN News.
Turning abroad, across Australia, Christians have spent a day marking the life of the first pontiff to hail from the global south.
A flicker of light in a sometimes dark world. At St Stephen's Cathedral in Brisbane, Pope Francis was remembered for the way he lived.
He was a pope of the people. He always believed in poor and marginalised. And I just felt such a connection with this Pope.
Lord God, Lamb of God.
Sister Teresa Maria hopes that legacy has shaped the church.
We'll be close to people and speak the language that the world can hear.
Archbishop Mark Coleridge says he was intensely human and less formal than popes of the past.
Who understands the pressures and the hassles of human life
who isn't prepared to condemn, who will listen before he speaks.
Though Pope Francis never visited, a group of Australian bishops went to meet him in 2019 and felt an affinity.
We actually gave him an akubra too.
The 88-year-old was credited with rejecting the excesses of the church.
He really brought Christianity back to its essence, which is love.
Campaigning on climate change ahead of the federal election, the Anglican leadership praised the Pope's advocacy.
Francis gave incredible moral leadership and helped people see the events that matter.
At Melbourne's Ukrainian cathedral, the faithful gave thanks for his support.
We pray for all the time during this time of horrible war.
In Sydney, worshippers gathered from dawn. The Pope's message of love for gay people seen as groundbreaking.
That is worth a hell of a lot to people who feel excluded and marginalised.
A world away from the Vatican, the feeling among Australian Catholics is Pope Francis was a down-to-earth and altruistic presence in troubled times.
Asia's Catholics are marking the death of Pope Francis with Timor-Leste announcing 7 days of mourning. In the Philippines, the faithful have been flocking to cathedrals.
Throughout the evening here at Manila Cathedral, people have been filing in, lighting a candle and saying a prayer for Pope Francis.
Let us honor his memory by learning from his teachings and following his example of Christian life.
Earlier in the day, the pews were full. There was a large congregation as people celebrated Mass and celebrated the life of Pope Francis. This was a similar scene in churches across the country. Now, in a nation of 85 million Catholics, most popes are fairly popular, but it's clear, talking to worshippers here, that this pontiff, Pope Francis, really resonated with the people here.
As someone who's religious, I definitely feel, I grieve and I'm mourning him. I feel that it's like we've lost an important person, at the same time a person that a lot of people looked up to, and he was a person that gave a lot of people hope.
Pope Francis, also known here as Lolo Kiko, really showed us that there is always a place for mercy and compassion throughout the Catholic Church. That the Catholic Church is a face of mercy, is a face of mercy of Jesus and the compassion of the God.
It's not as though in recent years the church here in the Philippines has been immune to scandal. Like in other countries, there has been clergy child sex abuse scandals. There have been times here when the church is at odds with political leaders about certain programs and policies, things like the war on drugs. But nobody is really talking about any of that. Upon Pope Francis's death, people basically have the same message, that in the Philippines he was seen as a unifier, and particularly because of his constant focus on the poor and the vulnerable, that really struck a chord in this country.
500,000 Australians voted in the first 24 hours of pre-polling for the federal election. The Australian Electoral Commission expects around half of Australia's more than 18 million eligible voters to cast their ballots before Election Day on May the 3rd. Head of Politics at Monash University, Zare Gazarian, says the big numbers reflect a change in voting behaviour.
Australians are taking advantage of casting their vote much earlier than they would otherwise in the past. And I think that also speaks to how people are looking at politics and engaging with politics as well. It suggests to us that people have already made up their mind, and no matter what the parties or candidates say from this point on, it's not going to really change people's voting intentions. So while May the 3rd is, of course, official election day, I think we can take it as being the last day to vote rather than election day. It's a huge risk that voters are taking by voting early, primarily because a candidate or a party might say or do something that they don't necessarily agree with, or the person that they didn't intend to vote for provides a reason for them to support that candidate. So it is a real risk to vote before the full election campaign has concluded. Also, I think it does take away from this community idea of what elections are. And we're very fortunate in Australia. There is, of course, compulsory voting as well. So to maximise the impact that people can have by debating, by thinking about the policies, and really by engaging in the democratic process will be diminished if people keep on voting early. I think this is the real challenge, that the way in which votes are counted, if people are voting in other electorates, those votes will then, of course, they will all be counted, but it will potentially make the final outcome about who wins the seats and ultimately who wins government. It may potentially take a bit longer as the votes have to be counted. They will all be counted, but it just might be delayed.
Santos has today received federal approval to begin gas production from its Barossa offshore field in the Timor Sea, around 300 kilometers northwest of Darwin.
Approval from Australia's offshore oil and gas regulator marks the final regulatory hurdle for Santos before they can begin production in the Barossa field. The Santos spokesperson today said the Barossa project remains on track for first gas by the third quarter of this year. The $5.6 billion project will extract natural gas from 6 subsea wells before it's piped to the Darwin LNG facility for processing. From there, it will be exported to potential overseas buyers like South Korea and Japan. The approval follows years of legal challenges to the project in the federal court, including a high-profile failed legal bid by the Environmental Defenders Office on behalf of Tiwi Islands traditional owners. As well as being one of Australia's largest oil and gas investments in almost a decade, the Barossa field contains some of the most carbon-intensive gas ever proposed to be extracted in the country. As a result, the project has faced intense opposition from green groups. However, the NT government is seeing this project as a potential massive boost to the Northern Territory's economy. It comes as gas and energy remain high on the agenda for federal politicians this election campaign.
You're watching TV1 News. Sports is next. Stay tuned.
The PNG LNG project has now generated more than 30 billion kina for Papua New Guinea since production commenced. Nearly half of this amount has been paid as tax. Equity distributions are paid to KPHL and MRDC based on the interest they hold. Tax is paid to the IRC, while development levies and royalties are paid to DPE. For more information on direct and indirect benefits, visit PNG EITI's website.
Meet the bank for everyone, everywhere. As People's Microbank, we were proud to be a bank for the people. Now as National Banking Corporation, we are bringing modern banking to all in Papua New Guinea. With more branches and our friendly staff ready to assist you in more places, We are making money matters simple and fair. So wherever you are, however you say it, say hello Better Banking. Learn more at nbcpng.com.pg.
Tell him shorty come get in it. Come grind on me, but mommy get loose, get loose, get loose. Pepsi in my hand, ice cold, no excuse. I tell him who's gonna bring that groove down. Pepsi with the fresh sound. Tell him who's gonna bring that groove down. Pepsi with that fresh sound. Pepsi, give me some Pepsi, Pepsi, you like it? Pepsi, you like it? Pepsi,
It was during the Bougainville crisis that the Papua New Guinea Defence Force soldiers began to hear stories of a sword. Now, not just a sword, but the sword of Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto.
Free Japanese naval commander, Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, mastermind of the dastardly sneak attack on Pearl Harbor.
Yamamoto's shot, we were also going for that shot.
Tales of it being hidden in the mountains or in the hands of the BRA intrigued the PNGDF.
It's a new season with new beginnings and new hope, all for the same dream. It all starts now. The NRL Telstra Premiership. Let's go!
Welcome back. As Anzac round approaches, the SPPNG Hunters are preparing for a significant match against the Burleigh Bears on Saturday, 26 April at Santos National Football Stadium. This marks the Hunters' first Anzac round at home since joining the Queensland Cup. To commemorate the round, the Hunters visited the Bomana War Cemetery to pay tribute to the brave soldiers who served in World War II this morning. A highlight of the tour was viewing the commemoration of the Australian soldier Private George C. Dick Whittington, who was injured during the Battle of Buna. The players will wear a special one-off commemorative jersey that features this iconic image of Whittington. He is commemorated and buried alongside over 3,000 fallen at Bomana War Cemetery. This year's Anzac round serves not only as a competitive fixture, but as a heartfelt reminder of the sacrifices made for freedom. Officials from the visiting Fijian Sevens team, Devo Barbers, have expressed serious concerns regarding unsportsmanlike tactics encountered during the recently held New Power Sportstock Sevens tournament over the Easter weekend in Port Moresby. Team manager Salasiel Tabalailai reflected on his team's dominant performance, showcasing a clean and fast style of rugby.
On behalf of the team, Tabalailai extended his heartfelt gratitude to the major sponsors, Sportstock 7 organizers, and the participating teams for making the inaugural trip to Port Moresby a memorable experience. The Devo Baba's victory at the Sportstock 7 was history, marking their first win on an international tour. While acknowledging the physicality and aggression inherent in PNG rugby, he voiced his dissatisfaction with several officiating decisions, particularly concerning dangerous tackles and rough tactiques aimed at injuring his players. He noted that match officials only issued yellow cards for actions that warranted red cards, raising concerns about player safety and the integrity of the tournament. He reported that 3 of his players suffered serious injuries due to rough play, necessitating their removal from the field.
What has happened on these few days we have come across for the safety of the players. There is no guarantee for the safety of the players. Because the safety of the players lies on the referees and the judges. But if they neglected their job on the field, then we'll be expecting all those things to happen.
He emphasized that while rugby is a contact sport, players must be protected by the rules and the code of ethics governing safe play. He expressed disappointment with the handling of injuries and overall management of the game by officials, asserting that a significant portion of the calls, approximately 70%, were biased against his team.
We really love the crowd, we really love the people, we really love the game here in PNG, but the only disappointment thing to us was the referees, officials. 70% of the call that they made, I disagree with this call.
Meanwhile, tournament manager Benson Hoopas has acknowledged the concerns raised by the Devil Babas and committed to discussing them with the head of the technical officials. He recognized the need for improvements in the technical aspects of the tournament, particularly in the training and upskilling of referees and match officials.
We can't continue to do this. We will continue to grow as a tournament. And again, the sponsors will come on board to put in money because of the quality. And see, we're bringing in overseas team. It's just to see where we are with things. And there's a lot of things that we need to work on.
Hoopas highlighted specific incidents during the tournament where players should have received red cards but were only given yellow cards, suggesting that stricter enforcement could enhance the standard of play. He reiterated the importance of educating coaches, team managers, players, and supporters about proper skills, techniques, and the rules of the game. Terry Longwood, TVWAN Sports.
The West Tigers will need to regroup quickly after a 38-22 loss to the Eels that came at the end of a horror week for the club, dominated by the Lachlan Galvin exit. After one game in New South Wales Cup, Galvin is back in the number 6 jersey to partner Jerome Luai in the halves amid drama.
The last time the two teams met in round 19 last year, the Sharks ran in 10 tries to 1 in a 56-6 mauling, although the Tigers had the better of their clashes at Leichhardt Oval, winning 6 of 10 games played there since 2000. After one game in New South Wales Cup, Lachlan Galvin is back in the number 6 jersey to partner Jerome Luai in the halves. Adam Dewey goes back to the centres, Brent Naden pushed to the wing and Luke Lowley out. Royce Hunt returns from the bench after missing the Easter Monday clash against the Eels. For Sharks, prop Toby Rudolph is out with an ankle injury and has been replaced by Tukupake Hau Tapua, who is the only change to the squad that downed the Knights. Braden Hamlin Uele is listed among the reserves as he looks to return from a knee injury that he sustained in round 3. The Sharks jumped into the top 8 on the back of their demolition of Newcastle Knights and look to carry on that momentum into Sunday afternoon showdown with West Tigers. With 9 Sharks running for more than 100 meters, they ran the Knights ragged, and they will again look to go straight through the front door with Eden Fanua-Blake showing the way and their classy outside backs cashing in. Another Sharks win looming if the Tigers don't recover from their current slumber. The match scheduled for Sunday at Tigers' home ground, Leichhardt Oval. Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
The Broncos will be aiming to buck their recent downward trend and bounce back when they host the undefeated Bulldogs to launch round 8. Playing at home at Suncorp Stadium, the Brisbane team will be hoping the hometown will help them lift after suffering back-to-back losses against the Roosters and a Golden Point disappointment against the Warriors last week.
The Bulldogs held their opponents scoreless in back-to-back games for the first time in their history after keeping the Seagulls and Rabbitohs 2-0 and have plenty of confidence coming up to play on opposition turf. They have conceded 14 points across the past 4 games and will again back their defense to contain a Broncos side missing dynamic fullback Rhys Walls.
Taking it in turns. Sexton's kick. This is too good. Canterbury.
Just one change to the side that downed the Rabbitohs, with Harry Haynes joining the bands in place of Jack Todd, who faces a lengthy stint on the sideline with a fractured arm. Daniel Suluka Fifita is again listed as the 18th man. The Bulldogs are aiming to win 7 in a row for the first time since 2014. Their defensive resilience is incredible, and it has now been 5 full halves of football since they've conceded a point. Matt Burton made a strong return last week, showcasing his ball handling skills despite some questionable attacking decisions. William Kika also returned and delivered an impressive performance. The Broncos' ability to adapt without Wells will be crucial. Their spine will need to step up to dominate the middle, while their back line, featuring Karaz and the ever-busy Tracy Connors, poses a significant threat. Brisbane led head-to-head 28-19 with 1 draw since 1998, while Canterbury won the only 2024 Clash 41-16 at Suncorp Stadium. Given the Bulldogs' current form and the Broncos' injury concerns, the Bulldogs are favoured to win this encounter. Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
That was the sports segment. We'll now have the weather forecast. Camera. Southern, Port Moresby, chance of evening heavy showers with possible thunderstorm. Kerama and Alotau, occasional evening heavy showers and thunderstorm. Momase, Ley, moderate to heavy evening showers and possible thunderstorm, then cloudy tonight. New Guinea Islands, Lorengau, Kokopo and Rabaul, occasion heavy showers and thunderstorm. Highlands, Mount Hagen, heavy evening showers and thunderstorm, then cloudy. Coral Sea, seas light to moderate with easterly to southeast winds of 10 to 20 knots with gusts tonight. Solomon Sea, seas smooth with northwest tending clockwise to easterly winds of 5 to 10 knots. Bismarck Sea, seas smooth with northwest to northeast winds of 5 to 10 knots. And Pacific Ocean, seas smooth with easterly tending clockwise to northeast winds of 5 to 10 knots. And coastal waters forecast. Waters of Samarai Island to Cape Bogle and all Milne Bay Islands, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. And waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas 0.5 to 1 meter. That ends the news tonight. Thanks for joining us. Have a pleasant evening. Bye for now.
Hey viewers, got a red disc on your roof? It's time to unlock over 80 channels of entertainment with Digicel TV. Enjoy exclusive HSBC 7s, UEFA Champions League clashes, Filipino and Indian